Hey fellow Forest users, what is up? It's Jasmine, the Ahsoka Tano fan. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Long time no see, guys. So it is time for episode 2 now of The Bad Batch season 3. Quick recap of the last episode and summary. It definitely was a darker episode. I think that's potentially setting the tone for the rest of the season, which makes me a little nervous, to be honest. But they really did a good job of making us as viewers feel confined in this space with Omega, with Crosshair. Everything was very repetitive, the water dripping, the tally marks Omega was making, the routine, her going off with Emery and doing that lab stuff. One thing I didn't mention in the last video also was Nala Se. Nala Se definitely seems as though she's trying to protect Omega. She did not allow any of her blood samples to be used in the research. And so I don't know what's gonna happen with that, whether or not she's gonna get caught, but she's definitely trying to protect her from whatever it is that's going on. You definitely get a sinister feel with the whole thing. Hemlock at the end of last episode also mentioned that he's gonna meet with the Emperor. So I wonder if we're gonna see Palpatine soon, because he was in the trailer. And then you saw Omega and Crosshair talk about hatching an escape plan. So is this gonna happen? Has Crosshair given up? Or is Omega gonna be able to convince him that the two of them should plan their escape and ultimately find their way back to the Bad Batch? Great start to the new season. I don't want to speculate too much. Let's blast our way into episode 2 now and check out what's in store for us. Paths unknown. Oh, this is a different setting here.
Dare summon me here and question my loyalty.
Are these Zygerians or something?
Confess to your crimes, and we may show mercy.
Oh, this guy.
Do you have?
Didn't Sid do work with him before or something?
You are guilty of conspiracy against this family.
He did mention that he had a mom who was a crime boss, I think.
The syndicate has grown weak under your rule, Lady Durand.
So I guess this is her.
Who here agrees?
Ooh.
You're dismissed.
Oh.
Who stands before me next?
Damn, I wouldn't want to stand in front of this lady. Oh, he's a Black Sun guy, looks like. Oh, and aren't those the Bad Batch? Hunter and Wrecker?
You'd be dead if my son hadn't convinced me to consider your offer.
We're here to deliver. You asked for the Pike who disgraced your family.
Is all yours.
Take him below.
This is
The Pikes.
Your willingness to cross the pikes shows how desperate you are.
We heard your syndicate had the connections needed to find the Imperial's base.
Oh. Imagine if she pressed the wrong one by mistake.
Hemlock's whereabouts have been well guarded by the Empire, but one of our sources came across these coordinates linked to his laboratory.
Go, before my generosity runs out.
Yeah, I think I'd want to look at whatever that is. Not on that ray shield floor. It's interesting that they brought him back into the story. I didn't think we'd see him again. Oh, that's the original doll that she recreated in prison.
Echo said he and Rex need 2 rotations before they can meet us at the coordinates.
We're going now.
The last time we stormed an Imperial base without backup,
Tech.
not all of us made it out.
I'm not making her wait another day.
Man, they're not messing around.
Smells like rancid Jotas out here.
Ooh,
No, that's Hemlock's lab.
they burned it all up, eh?
If she was here,
We don't know if she was. Let's get down there and check it out.
Don't you get the sense they're being watched? Just with the visual angles.
Not alone. They're rigs.
Other clones?
We're clones. Same as you.
Whoa.
They must be 99s. Defectives.
effective.
Wow,
and
so
effective.
Doing it.
wow.
They send you to finish us off?
Do we look like we're with the Empire?
We're looking for a young girl. She's a clone. We think she was sent to the lab here.
But Mox might know about her.
We have to find her. She's part of our squad.
Follow our steps. And don't touch the vines.
Wow. So I wonder if they age like Omega. Normally. Omega and
When the
Boba.
Empire transferred us off Kamino, we thought we were getting more training. Instead, they made us prisoners.
What was the Empire doing here?
Whatever they wanted.
And you survived alone out here ever since?
We're soldiers. We were supposed to be.
Don't touch the vines, he said.
What? Behind you.
Oh man. But why couldn't he tell him why not to touch the vine? Yikes.
What was that stuff?
Slither vines. The Empire made it. It's some kind of experimental weapon. We'll be safe on the crag. The slither vines haven't spread there. And this time, don't touch anything.
See, but I feel as though if you told them that in the first place, they would have been a little more careful.
Who are they? Clones.
Or maybe they do age accelerated, but they're just
We're looking
still
for
in
a
the
young
cadet
girl.
form? I don't
She
know.
was taken by an Imperial named Hemlock.
Never saw a girl around the lab, but I know Hemlock. One day the Imperials started packing up and shipped out.
We were the only ones who made it out before the orbital bombardment. Even the clone troopers left us to die.
Yikes. Crosshair did say don't trust every clone.
We can take you to someplace safe, but we need to find out if Omega was here. There has to be some intel in that base.
That area is covered in slither vines.
Going near those ruins is a suicide mission.
I'll go with them.
That's strange. They look like clones, but at the same time they look different.
How long has she been gone?
Too long. But we're not giving up.
I wish the other clones felt that way about us. You may be defective CTs, but at least you're loyal.
They give loyalty a whole new meaning. Not loyal to an organization, but loyal to each other.
The gear and the power. Lead the way, kid.
Ooh, he did say they're toxic, so I guess that's why he's got the mask on.
There's slither vines everywhere in there. Be careful where you step.
What other experiments were going on in this place?
I wonder if we'll learn more now about the experiment. Oh man. Oh, he got his mask off. Damn. Wow, that reminds me of Alien almost. Man.
Let's take this ship and get out of here.
What about Deke?
He made his choice.
Damn, that'd be cold.
Then we're no better than the troopers who did the same to us. They're risking their lives to find a member of their squad.
If we wait and the slither vines reach their ship, our chance to escape is gone.
Where's their ship?
Man, that'd be so cold if they did that. So I wonder, the same voice actor for Boba Fett in the Clone Wars, is he voicing these clones as well, or are the voices different?
I didn't think it could smell any worse. But I was wrong.
That almost reminded me of the labyrinth there. That kind of swampy area.
Something's coming.
More of those things.
Something else.
I'll see what data I can pull up.
Wait, that's not the sound of their ship, is it? No, it's a creature. Oh man. Yikes.
Got it.
Oh wow. That would be so cold if they did that. So cold.
Where will we go?
Anywhere's better than here.
Oh man. Ooh, just in time. that's the swampy area. I think they're probably gonna fly the ship there to rescue them, maybe. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Yes. Good. But how many cables are there? I only saw 2. Oh, crap. It's reaching the ship. That's what he was afraid of. Ooh. It's kind of like a Sarlacc. Damn. Oh, man. That's a lot. Ooh. Oh, good. Alright, this is a close one. Probably thinking now what?
Looks like Hemlock transferred his entire base of operations to another location. There was a mention of a sector. It's a lead, but we've got a lot of space to cover. We'll drop you 3 off someplace safe.
Where?
They're gonna want to come, maybe.
Island.
Oh, what's the island called? The one with Fee. I can't think of the name for some reason.
Make your own path. Be something other than a soldier.
What about you?
Our mission is not over yet.
Oh. There's that doll again. All right. All right, so that was an interesting episode. It was a different setting, obviously, from the first one. The first one we saw what Omega and Crosshair were dealing with. So it took place within the walls, and now this episode takes place outside of the walls, and we see Hunter and Wrecker follow up on a lead that was given to them by the Durand family. We saw the son before in another episode, and he was involved with Sid. I may have to rewatch that, but he did mention that he had a mother who ran the family and was running their criminal organization, and so now it looks like they went to them for help, and they're the ones who were able to provide intel, leading them to the base that we saw them explore this episode. So that was kind of a nice touch how they brought back a previous character and also introduced a new character that we'd only heard spoken about before, and that is his mother. They go to this planet to follow up on this lead, and they're confronted by none other than clones themselves. But I thought it was really interesting how they chose to make them cadets as opposed to adult clones. They definitely could have had it where they were confronted by adult clones who were outcast versus cadets, but I think that having the young cadets was a good creative choice by the writers. On one hand, it kind of reminds us of Omega. Up until this point, Omega has been the one kid amongst all the other grown clones, right? So now we're seeing other kids who are in Omega's same situation in the sense that they are trying to figure out where they belong, and in this case, they're outcasts. They were told that they were going to be soldiers, and then they ended up just being abandoned by their other fellow brothers, their fellow clones. It is interesting to see from the perspective of young cadet outcasts who were bred for war but never actually fought in a war versus the clones who had fought in the war and were then outcast once the Empire took over. We've seen that with Echo, we've seen that with Rex and a couple other clones. They're again showing us all the different types of clones that have been impacted by the Empire one way or another. And it was interesting how they talked about being abandoned and betrayed by their own kind. It just shows how powerful and deeply divisive the Empire is as well, enough to divide clones and turn them against one another. But it's truly tragic because ultimately we know the fate of the clones. We know the Empire ends up doing away with all clones and instead recruits regular stormtroopers. So they really should have been sticking together all along. Had they done so, it might have been harder for the Empire to accomplish what it ends up accomplishing and harder for them to discard the clones in the way that they eventually do. I also think that having the young cadets learn about Omega gave them a little bit of hope in this episode. We saw at the end of the episode there was a little bit of focus on Omega's doll again. We obviously saw last episode Omega tried to recreate this doll, and now we're seeing seeing the doll again. I would argue in both episodes, the doll definitely symbolizes hope. And I think ultimately when the young cadets first saw the doll, that's what made them want to help the Bad Batch and rescue them in the end versus abandoning them. I think it reminded them that there's still hope and something to live for. And even though they were told their whole lives that they were soldiers and their purpose was war, now they have to find a different purpose given that they were outcast by the Empire. And by the end, that's kind of what the Bad Batch talked to them about, finding their own path. I noticed too that at the beginning of the episode, Wrecker's mood was a little bit more somber, but then by the end, when he starts interacting more with the cadets, he's a little more cheerful and the Wrecker that we're used to seeing. You could argue that those kids kind of give him hope again. They kind of remind him of Omega. There's definitely a theme too of not abandoning your own kind. You hear about the cadets, how they were abandoned by other clones, and then they meet the Bad Batch, who are also clones, who are the opposite of that. Not only did they not abandon Omega, but they're putting their lives on the line to rescue her when they very well could just give up. And then in the last episode, you see Omega, despite whatever Crosshair says to her, she refuses to give up on him, and she wants the two of them to escape. So there's definitely that theme of clones kind of sticking together. I'd also be curious to know who voiced the clone cadets in this episode. I wonder if it's the same voice actor as Boba Fett from the Clone Wars. Actually, let me look that up right now. So it looks like Daniel Logan, who voiced Boba Fett in the Clone Wars, voiced Mox in this episode, but the other two were voiced by a different actor who was in Deadpool, Julian Dennison. And I was wondering that because they didn't quite all sound the same to me, but that's another interesting creative choice by the writers to not have them all voiced by the same person. With the adult clones, they're all voiced by D. Bradley Baker. So I guess the intention is to portray clones as being somewhat different from one another despite having the same DNA. And this is something they've done in the Clone Wars. They try to give each clone their own identity despite looking the same and being voiced by the same person. So I guess in this episode they took it a step further by making them look a little different and also be voiced by different people. But yeah guys, overall, good episode. It definitely showed us a lot, like I said. I think the show continues to deepen our understanding of the clones and expose us to what they truly went through after the events of Order 66. And of course we had that action sequence too where they were battling against the Vines, and it was mentioned, I believe, that the Vines were previously a super weapon of the Empire that they abandoned when they lost control of it. So you definitely see the Empire doing these things where they experiment, and if it goes wrong they kind of abandon it, and then they don't really necessarily care who their mistakes affect at the end of the day. So as always, let me know what you thought down below in the comments of this episode. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon for episode 3 of The Bad Batch Season 3. Until next time guys, take care and see you soon.